pretty sure it is. This one doesn't run it anymore.
Good morning, everybody. We got a couple of minutes to 9:30, but it looks like everybody is here, and we do have a quorum. So we'll go ahead and get started. Actually, we're at 9:30 on the dot, perfect. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Our first line of business, we need to adopt the agenda. It is pretty light today with just one new case. Give everyone a chance to review the agenda.
Yeah, move to approve as presented.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move on. It was Dustin.
Dustin.
Thank you.
All right. We need to approve the minutes from the April 1st, 2024 meeting. I'll give everybody a few moments to go through those if they haven't already.
I read them, can move to approve them, make a motion.
Perfect. Motion's been made. And Mr. Dawson has seconded it. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I abstained since I wasn't here.
Oh, noted, Chairman Yao abstained. All right, well, we'll get into the new business then. Our first and only line of business today is case number SU-05-25-01, Gerald Fuchs. Is a special use permit, this is preliminary. Mr. Fuchs has applied for a special use permit to keep livestock on a lot less than 2 acres in accordance with Article 5-2-1 of the Madison County zoning ordinance. The subject parcel is identified as 3632 Wolftown Hood Road and further identified as Madison County Tax Map 4654B. The subject parcel is 1.191 acres and is zoned R1, which is the reason for the special use. And again, for y'all that are in the audience today, since it's just the one case, very informal meeting. This is mainly for information and kind of a sounding board with other members of we have board members here, planning commission members here, economic development, and of course, the staff as well. So please be informal about it. Don't be nervous, and ask as many questions as you may have. Mr. Nichols, I'll turn it over to you for more background.
Very good. All right, so for the committee's information, this case has come to us as we had a complaint initially about livestock being kept on a property smaller than 2 acres in the R1 district. In your packet is the background and the relevant zoning ordinances that spell out what the ordinance is. Had another minor zoning violation that has since been corrected. But as a special use permit is required for livestock on a small lot, the applicant is here and has chose to apply. With us today, we have invited Greg Cave, and Ian, to our animal control officers to speak if there's any issues to discuss regarding the livestock. Applicant, Mr. Gerald Fuchs, and his wife are here with us today. And this should be a pretty simple application, but I'll turn it back to the committee.
Perfect. Actually, we'll start with any comments from you. I mean, again, this was pretty straightforward, but do y'all have any items to add publicly?
I guess the only thing is, we're building a fence to, there's half of our property. It's got a creek running through it. So it's basically unusable land. I'm building a fence there. And that whole back half there. And it's a great area up there. It's just, we're not allowed to have dogs on our property. We're a half Muslim family. So we can't have dogs, but other than that, I mean, we only have a handful of goats, 5 goats. And it's great for our kids, teaching them. So other than that, that's all I need to really say.
Perfect. Any questions from the committee on this one?
So, is that going to be the max, is 5 goats?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see us going over 50 or 100, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, we might have to have a condition if that was gonna be the case.
No, but, you know, I think, well, we got 5 or 6, maybe, 6. We adopted one, it was a sickly goat.
Yeah,
And I grew up on a dairy farm my whole life. I mean, I know animals, I know how to treat them, all that. I mean, I grew up in Minnesota, so animals get sick with the cold. You got to watch the weather. You can tell when an animal's sick.
so goats need a run-in shed, sorta?
Yeah, run-in shed, and
Some-
we got
some
2 of them.
protection,
Yeah, and
So-
simple things.
So would you have any problem with having a condition on this special use permit saying we will not ever go over X number of goats?
Yeah, I mean, I'd
And
be
what would
happy
that-
with
What would
that.
you like for that number to be?
I don't want to go over what we have now.
Okay,
We got 1 goat that's pregnant, so, but I see us getting rid of it.
yeah, okay.
You know, I don't want no more.
Well, I was just considering that this whole thing boiled up from a neighbor complaint, right?
Yes.
And now you've taken the proper route to mitigate that complaint. I would think that they would even be more, or they would be happier if we had a condition that the Fuchs will not exceed X number of goats.
I'm happy with that.
So, well, let's try to, well,
I'd be interested in hearing what Mr. Cave
Oh,
has to
okay.
say about
Yeah, before we try
about
to-
the appropriate number per acre
Yeah.
or whatever the metric is.
So there's no law that really regulates, the Virginia statute. They pretty much leave it under the discretion of the animal control officer. So we pretty much make sure that it's clean, they have adequate exercise, ability to move around within their primary enclosure. And so pretty much you wouldn't keep a goat or a horse in like a 10 by 10 lot. So other than that, we follow like the expertise of our local veterinarians. So I did reach out to Dr. Weekly before today, and I spoke to her, and best rule of thumb, like with a horse, you would say like an acre per horse. With a goat, you're looking at 4 or 5 goats per acre. One of her concerns was to recommend, try to be careful in trying to, I guess, regulate this, because one of her concerns was it's going to hurt a lot of the 4-H parents, because you start regulating how many they can have and stuff like that. She said 'cause a lot of the 4-H parents does not have more than an acre. So, but that was her only concern.
yeah.
And that's a good point there with 4-H's, because my son did look, and he's 17 years old, and, he did take, what is it, egg class, so.
Yeah. Right, yeah, I mean, I know, I can't remember what the rule of thumb now is, but like you say, a horse, cattle are different. We don't have any regular farmers in here right now, do we? Oh, you are? So, like cattle, I know, there is a basic rule out there, right? So many acres of pasture land per head, right, Greg?
Right.
So, yeah, okay, well, I'll,
Mr. Supervisor Yao.
yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Gordon.
What do you think, Brian?
Quick Google search.
Yeah?
6 to 8 per acre.
Of cattle or goats?
Goats.
6 to 8 per acre, okay.
So I don't know how reliable Google is.
Yeah.
And you currently, Mr. Fuchs, have
6.
Mr. Cave, if I could ask you a question, or if anybody happens to know, but say, Mr. Fuchs, you probably know, at what point does a kid become a goat? I'm saying when they birth, you may go over the count, and so then at what point do they become adults to manage that?
I'm guessing when they're done weaned, when they're off the mother's milk, you know, and they're sufficiently eating their grains and their hay, and
How many babies does a goat usually have?
2 is normal.
Okay.
It can get a little crazy, though.
Well, maybe I should withdraw asking for that consideration based on what Greg says, because, I mean, you've done this in your lifetime.
Yes.
You know what animals need and don't need. You're not gonna mistreat animals. If you mistreat them, then Greg will get involved, right?
Yes.
So, never mind.
I guess a couple of questions, Mr. K, for you as well, all in the same line of questioning, I guess. One, if the complaint so far has been, I'm assuming noise or
No.
just general, no?
This is
no-
just going through
Violation.
line by
Just
line to see what
violation.
fits and what doesn't.
Going forward, and I'm just not even specific to this case, but maybe in general, are you ever, this is the right word, but weaponized to say, like, constant calls for animal welfare, where if someone looks across the fence and says, oh, there's 6 of them, there's too many, I want to do a complaint? Does that happen? And then if so, what is the procedure for that for y'all?
So we would actually, I mean, we would definitely look into it. I mean, someone would to call and say, hey, I'm concerned about the welfare, well-being of the animals. We would perform a welfare check, in or out. Both of us would actually ride out, check the well-being of the animals. I mean, if they say, hey, I think they have too many, that would regulate maybe a one-time visit. We'd ride out and take a look at them. I mean, if they're calling just for a welfare check, then yeah, we would ride out every time and take a look at them. But, I mean, if they're just saying, you know, they have 6 animals over there in this lot, that would justify one visit. We ride out, take a look at them, see if we've seen anything wrong. But to ride out every time just because of the number of animals and that.
Okay,
But welfare checks, yeah.
okay. So if they are having kids and they call and say there's 7 tomorrow, or then that, okay. Well, I wanted to make sure it's not a burden on you. And then, when you get there, you said there's no state ordinance or statute on number per acre? So that's again determined by,
The animal control officer.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the statutes for animal control and game wardens, they leave a lot of that up to the discretion of the officer.
okay. So any number we set or recommend or are comfortable with, it has to be something that y'all are also comfortable with, is that
Yeah, I would like to go by with
what the
Dr.
veterinarians,
Weekly's
okay,
opinion, you know, 4 to 5 per acre.
okay. And then, secondly, and I don't, this may be for everybody, does it change if are these for sale or profit? Do y'all sell these or?
No, they're just pets.
They're just pets. Does it change anything if it's pets versus sale or profit in terms
The
of?
ordinance is verbatim in your packet there. When you get
Just
to the
with the-
background page, I'd encourage you to take a look at it. And maybe this is something that should be taken under consideration in the future for future planning functions. But the ordinance says livestock on lots less than 2 acres, and we have adopted a definition of livestock, which is 2107. Domestic animals normally raised on a farm, such as draft horses, cows, swine, goats, sheep, poultry, etc. Somebody who wrote it had ponies, because the definition specifically excludes light horses or ponies used primarily for pleasure riding.
What's a light horse? Are they talking weight?
A light horse?
I've had horses.
I have questions.
I know what a lighthouse is.
Mr. and Ms. Fuchs, so you have 6 right now?
Yes, currently we have 6. I believe one is definitely pregnant.
Okay. And I don't know the life of a goat, but do you have any intent to, or are there any that are aging out or that you would be?
No, right now, I believe everyone is under, a year old. I mean, we got one that's 6 months old, and we had that as a bottle baby.
Okay.
So we raised that as a baby.
All right, thank you. I'm only asking because I heard the animal control, our chief animal control officer, I think it was 4 to 5 per acre. This fenced-in area is probably a quarter acre.
I'm gonna say a third.
All right. I definitely, members of this committee, would not recommend the numbers increase over what they have. I have concerns of being over the number that the animal control just gave us, which I think was 4 or 5.
Got the back portion of the property they're working on fencing in now. There's already fence over some of this that they want to bifurcate through here somewhere. The goats currently reside in this area. But if I heard Mr. Fuchs correctly earlier, I think that they're getting ready to expand to most, if not all, of the backyard area.
Yes, yes. Right, we're gonna cross the creek, but where that shed is on the property line there on the left side, yep. There will be a fence there too, a privacy fence.
So pretty much drawing a straight line from the rear of that shed.
Yes,
from
all the way
boundary to boundary.
front to back to the driveway.
Yeah, the line on this is not exactly right. I know that the shed
Yes,
is 10 foot
yes.
3 inches off the property line.
Yes.
And Mr. Nichols, I guess question for you, or Mr. Cave, you too. Are we looking at the lot size as the acre, or do we need to go and what the size of where the animal pen in their enclosure will be? Because then we're,
Going to defer to Mr. Cave. I'm assuming it would be the area in which the animals live.
so if we're talking a third of an acre, then per the veterinarian's recommendation on the high side, it's 1.5, 2 goats.
Well, go ahead.
I'm hesitant to, with the, I mean, because like I said, you got a lot of families have 2 or 3 kids.
Yeah,
know.
me too. I agree.
And really, are we getting into the weeds here? And is this where the planning commission is gonna step in and talk about this?
Yes.
We're just seeing if they have the information together to go to the planning commission, correct?
Pretty much.
I would say that
And I mean, if somebody differs, please tell me.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Supervisor Dawson. I mean, I'm guilty. I led down this path of numbers. Really, we're looking at, does this fit the ordinance, or how does it fit the ordinance? It's an SUP. So I tend to agree, let the planning commission work on that number. Need to have input in the report from Mr. Cave. And anything from VADAX. I don't know if VADAX has any regulation or oversight. But certainly I agree, Supervisor Dawson.
Okay, so since they've already applied, I guess our recommending that it goes to the planning commission is
The next step.
fait accompli, right? But
I would say so.
so moved.
Second.
Motion has been made to move case number SU-05-25-01 to the next planning commission meeting, which will be for y'all. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Cave, feedback, I saw the mic move. I just saw you move the mic, I thought you were moving it to your mouth.
So, well, just one thing for the Fuchs. So the planning, for a special use permit, the planning commission and ultimately the board of supervisors, which Dustin and I are on, we have the authority to impose a condition, okay, which, some other things, zoning and whatnot, we can't. It has to be voluntary. But in this case, I just want you to think about it, and if you want to, I mean, we could impose one, or you could volunteer one that everybody agrees with and moves on, whatever. Or not, you could just go with it like it is now and.
What you mean?
With the number of goats. We could, the board of supervisors has every right to say, thou shalt not go over, 5
Right.
goats.
Right, but, like I said earlier, my kids, my
Yeah.
youngest boy is 10 years old.
Yeah,
He fed that little goat since he was a little baby. It was 3 days old when we got it. He loved it.
right,
That kid was proud.
yeah.
But the number of goats, I'll guarantee if my goats are sick, I'll be the first one that's concerned.
Sure, I understand. I'm not inclined to impose a number at this point, but, because of what Greg said about the 4-H club kids, children and stuff. But anyhow, that's just food for thought, something.
Right.
I do think it would help you when you go before the planning commission to know the dimensions of the fenced-in area.
I can get that for
I
you.
think that would be prudent for them for information, but
Yeah.
I mean, we don't regulate that.
The fenced-in area, it's, part of it's, it's all grass. I mean, that all used to be trash. When I first moved into the property, I got out of this side of the creek, I got 2 big piles of trash out of there, metal, scrap. It was all briars. I mean, it's all grass now and beautiful. They got trees for cover and the hot sun, and it's a good area.
Would you rent these goats out for?
No. We've been there 5 years, a little 5.5 almost.
Okay.
And I would just state for the record, it is a balance. It may seem silly to be here today, like, why do I need this for goat? Well, it just so happens, unlike the rest of the county that may have the same lot size or whatever, when zoning kicked in, if this was an A1 lot, we wouldn't be here. It's an R1 lot, so it's viewed as residence. So I think it's a balance. To me, when it comes to 4-H kid or not 4-H programs, it's about, how the animal's cared for. Acreage and all that does come into play. You may have pasture, you may not, you can bring in hay, depends on what the animal you have. That's really what we're looking at, whether you have an animal for designated 4-H or fair exhibition, or if you're gonna do this continuously for family enrichment, which I think is great, what you're doing with your kids. But that's the balance we're trying to strike here.
Even with the pasture, you still gotta give them,
Right,
you gotta give them the hay just to keep their rumen and gut going good.
right.
Procedurally, do I need to say anything? Because we've had some pretty good discussion after.
You don't, I mean, I think we've taken the votes. I think we're-
I'll record it. for
Okay,
minutes.
good.
We're good.
The only other thing too, and this just came to mind, and I'm just sharing this to the room. I had chickens, and I had requested to put a chicken coop with 2 goats and a donkey on my property. And I did find out that there was gonna be 50 feet to the nearest well, and I was told that I cannot do that as well. So when you go to the planning commission, probably have your that's VDH, so you may just wanna call them. And I don't know why I didn't bring it up during the formal
The
discussion.
well's in the
but-
front yard, isn't it?
No, the well's right by that shed there on the property line.
Okay.
Mr. Cave and VDH will have more insight, but it might be worth checking, because like I said, whenever I put.
Yeah,
a
I
building-
definitely wanna keep I worked in water too, and
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just concerned with nitrate levels.
Right, right,
Blue
right.
baby syndrome, you've heard of that, so that's why that rule's there.
But I'm sure that will come up in the planning commission.
Right,
at the
right.
next steps, so. All right, well, then, since this has been voted, any other items or general public comment? Seeing none?
Move to adjourn.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. Thank you very much, guys, and good luck the next one.
All right, let me go turn off the thing and then we'll.
And Mr. Nichols will have you from this point forward, like he'll take care of all the next steps, so. Yeah, isn't it funny?